Welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy at the request of Patreon subscriber RobJob. And this is trusty old Jace Stoneblade. A little history lesson about both the Legacy format and my content endeavors. I first started streaming in mid-2018, and I played a lot of decks like this one. If you go back into the ancient archive of my channel, I apologize for the quality, but it's what we had at the time. You'll find a lot of decks that look exactly like this one. Back then, I actually acquired cards on Magic Online for my collection. That was before I was partnered with Card Hoarder and had access to any card anytime, and I just don't need to buy cards anymore. And I could tell today's video was going to be a banger because I only needed like 4 cards. This is very close to a time capsule of a simpler time in Legacy. The cards I didn't own were like Modern Horizons 2 things like Cauldra and a pair of Meltdowns because Urza Saga wasn't printed yet at the time. But the whole core of this deck, it was here, ready to go. This is a classic kind of tap out control deck that basically you're just testing your opponent's answers the whole way up the curve until they don't have any anymore. Stoneforge Mystic on 2 mana threatens a Batterskull or a Cauldra. That's a must answer threat. Back to Basics and Narset can shut down entire decks on their own, Teferi as well. And True Name Nemesis. All of these cards ask different questions, and all of them have the potential to win a game on their own. And those all happen on 3 mana. And then the Ancient Dead returns. Jace the Mind Sculptor, previously banned in multiple formats, defined the Legacy format for a long time. Barely to be seen anywhere these days. These days we have Pyroblast in main decks. We've got Daze, Wasteland, Lightning Bolt, Unholy Heat, Dragon's Rage Channeler, and Delver to really double up on 1-drops that can kill this thing. Jace is kind of a huge liability and has been for quite some time. But if you're in a deck that asks a game-ending question on turn 2, asks a game-ending question on turn 3, and maybe you ask multiple 2 and 3 mana game-ending questions, and when the dust settles, Jace the Mind Sculptor still just wins games if left unchecked. I had the displeasure of playing against this deck. I was on the Jeskai Mastermind build in a paper tournament a couple weekends ago, and I felt like I was doing well. We did all the normal exchanges, but eventually it all added up, and a True Name Nemesis would stick through, and then I'd use all my effort finding Rest Down and Swords to Plowshares in the same turn to try to answer this thing, and then, oh, surprise, Jace was here all along and just absolutely buried when I'm out of gas. 9 basic lands in this deck to support a main deck back to basics. That's some 2019, 2018 tech for sure. 1 Days Undoing. This is kind of newer tech. The card has existed for quite some time, but we weren't on the Narset Days Undoing stuff. Narset was a format staple the second she was printed, so was Teferi, but it took us a while as a community to figure out that Days Undoing was a game-ending spell we could cast. This one a little newer, but it's in here too. We are putting our opponent in check starting on turn 2 and just rallying on the cards that are worth more than 1 card, and we're also threatening Days Undoing at all times. This deck asks a lot of questions, and it has excellent mana, and it has solid interaction to boot. I love decks like this. I can't wait to play this. Let's go do it. This is Jace Stoneblade from RobJob. It's round 1, and I'm on the draw against none other than Phil Gallagher, aka Thraben U, Legacy YouTuber extraordinaire and co-host of the Eternal Glory podcast with me. I'm going to keep this Island Ponder hand. Phil is naturally inclined towards restrictive prison decks, but he's also a content creator, so could be doing anything. I like the mix of Ponder and Prismatic Ending to see what he's up to over there and react to most things. Bayou Thoughtseize, this could just be Turbo Depths. Yeah, I'm going to prioritize a Swords to Plowshares. Oh, interesting. We're fighting over Snapcaster Mage. So he's signing up for a longer game than this, than I thought that Turbo Depths would want. Maybe it's just not that. Jace the Mind Sculptor, hello. I'm going to shuffle this. Alright, shuffled up a Plow. That's what we wanted. Oh, this could just be Maverick? Is that possible? Ew. Who does that? Who let Phil do that? I play another Ponder. Stoneforge, Mystic Prismatic, any True Name Nemesis. If I were cheating, these are the cards I would want. I'm going to put the Stoneforge in my hand. And I'm going to play this Prismatic Vista. I'm a little worried about Opposition Agent. I don't know if I need to be. It's just on my mind because it's Phil. Who knows? Something's happening. Oh god. These are so many colors. I am not prepared for a Minsk and Boo of any kind. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Okay. I don't like that either, but it is here. I can draw True Name, play Stoneforge, and ending the Goblin Shaman. Ending the Gobbo. I think this is better than getting True Name down, though I could end up punished here. I'm just going to dig up Cauldra. See what's going on. See if I get reanimated. Or if this is a value Fable. I have no idea what's going on right now. This is not a deck I'm familiar with. We're going to learn a lot about the deck based on what gets looted away here. Lingering Souls and a land got looted away. Okay. Understood. Opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. Okay. My Edict has been shouldered. And I think it's time to shove True Name. Just used an Edict on something that isn't True Name Nemesis. I'm in for that. Bang. I left up white because I'm going to plow the Reflection of Kiki Jiki probably. And I don't want to use a fetch land if I don't have to. Please don't have more copies of Shouldered Edict in your deck. What a weird card. Second Fable. Yep, that happens. I can put Narset in front of that thing. Lingering Souls. That's also going to happen. And I'm going to take out the Reflection of Kiki Jiki. And then, oh, I can brainstorm away this Cauldra. Or I could Narset first and decide if I want to brainstorm. I'm going to Narset first. This is great because it shuts off the card selection mode of Fable. Force of Will to Fairy Time Raveler, another Narset. Do I think I want Force of Will? I feel like this is getting fair and grindy. I'm going to grab this Teferi and then brainstorm away this Cauldra. Cauldra, Island to go away, and Fetch Land represents Swords to Plowshares. I'm just going to crack it. Awkward that there was not another Tundra in the deck. The mana base actually kind of betraying me here. This beautiful back to basics supporting mana base is giving up some information right now. But look at Phil's mana base. If I find the back to basics, we're done here. Big Noble Hierarch, okay. That might incentivize an attack that doesn't disappoint me. Grist the Hunger Tide, okay. Can't do anything about that. But they can just kill Narset straight up. Okay. That takes all of my questions about combat math out of the equation. Knows about Teferi, currently Hellbent. Oh, nice. Teferi, get in here. And I would like to clear the Goblin Shaman. I don't think Teferi is actually going to be important to this game plan. But removing this token is kind of nice. Another one. Put Brainstorm in my hand to back up this Force of Will just in case I need it. Kill Grist. And now we're hanging out. I can answer creatures in multiple ways. I can answer non-creatures with Force of Will. I'm ready for Minsk and Boo, which I have to assume is in this deck. Why would you be these colors? Yep. There's that. That was a pretty good draw. Glad I was ready for it. One turn earlier, and we would have lost to that. Barry is dying. And I'm going to pull out a Reflection, because I'm drawing Narset. Teferi's under it. And I don't have enough mana to come up with Teferi off of Narset. There she is. Activator. There's Days Undoing. Opponent's already hellbent, but drawing 7 sounds pretty good. And I'm going to Prismatic Ending one of these tokens, just because I plan on having a whole new hand next turn anyway. We're getting the hooks in, as long as the second runner Midskin doesn't arrive here. In combat, Narset takes her damage. Staff of the Storyteller. Okay, that's what we're doing. Just 4-color staff soup. Narset does a little bit against that. Less than I'd like. Another one. Okay. True name, attack. And I just have to spin here. Like, I could eat this Narset, play another one, set up for another turn cycle. But I'd rather just have 7 cards in my hand. And here we go. 7 for me, 1 for you. Opponent was going to get this one anyway. Off of the Staff of the Storyteller. Through a Plow, I can keep Narset and play another turn. I think this is worth doing. I just 7 for 1 to my opponent. I'm going to use cards kind of aggressively to get this game over now. And these are the battlefields where Jace the Mind Sculptor is as messed up as you remember. I can shove Jace, bounce the Spirit, or I could Brainstorm first, see what shakes loose. I'm going to do that. And clear some of these lands. Play a fresh Narset. I get another Ponder before I have to make any decisions. Or no, I do. I do have 3 blue sources here. Ponder. Ultra Complete, Force of Will. Ponder. I will take this Force of Will. And Big Daddy Jace the Mind Sculptor. Drawing your card in response. This is the one draw you get this turn. And I'm going to bounce the Spirit. That does pressure Jace. And I think I just don't attack here. Protect my Planeswalkers with my untouchable creature. Don't make any needlessly aggressive decisions, and should be able to take over with the Planeswalkers next turn. Ignoble Hierarch, see that? If I had attacked, Jace would be dead. Or I'd have to force this stupid card. Both of which are things I don't want to do. There is a Kaldra on top of my deck right now. And I have 7 mana to cast it. Yeah, I'll Brainstorm with Jace. That's a lot of Force of Wills. Put back. Batter Skull and Rainstorm. Kaldra's on the stack. Kaldra's in play. I get in for 8 right now. Okay, I don't care about Jace. Opponent is dead in 2 hits, and I have 3 Force of Wills. Go ahead, kill my Jace. Towards the Plowshares. Now I care a little more about Jace, but this is what all these forces are for. Force, pitching, Ponder. I have more Force of Wills in hand than my opponent has cards in hand. I think we can do it. Another one. Alright, I'll force pitching Force this time. Hellbent opponent dead on board, facing down Jace the Mind Sculptor and 2 unkillable creatures. Let's do it. Taking out Jace as a matter of pride. Or going for Narset, interesting. Okay. What are we worried about with the... by taking out Narset instead of Jace? Draw some card draw spell. Let's flush it out. Activate Narset. Just about out of counter spells. I think that's okay. Brainstorm with Jace. The Fairy, Stoneforge Mystic. Cool. Stoneforge Mystic and Narset to the top. And I'll Teferi for good measure. Make sure no nonsense is coming my way. Now or never, Phil. Cool. We took game 1 against 4-color Hierarch nonsense. Sort of Feast and Famine looks great here. Protection from black and green. Yep. And the festivities against the token deck. Yes, please. Hydroblast versus Minskin Boo. Force of Negation. I don't think I want to be in that space. I am worried about Minskin Boo specifically, but I have 4 Force of Wills already for that. And Spell Pierce, and Phil did not see Back to Basics that game. I should expect Red Blasts this time around. I don't think Teferi is that important to this overall strategy. Narset actually did get value in addition to just being Narset and finding cards. So we did shut down a Fable loot and made a Staff of the Storyteller kind of awkward. I don't even hate Force of Will, but I am going to shave one side grade into Hydroblast, and then do I cut a Swords to Plowshares? A lot of things were tokens, and End the Festivities clears it out cleaner. Alright, that feels maybe suspicious, but I'm going to go with it. Okay, True Name Nemesis, the goalie, Island Ponder, I'm in. Should expect Choke out of this deck. I'm going to go for basic Island with Flooded Strand. I'm using Flooded Strand intentionally instead of Prismatic Vista, because my Flooded Strands can get Island Plains, but Prismatic Vista is the only one that can get basic Mountain, which might end up being part of my game plan. I'll keep this Force of Will in the hand. That respects Choke. Uh-oh, Phil's on the control plan over there. Hopefully I'm better at this than he is. He's gonna land pass the Taiga. I'm gonna Brainstorm into this open mana. If this flushes out a Pyroblast, that's not too bad. Put back Batterskull and Island. Fetch Plains in my upkeep. I can Force of Will an Opposition Agent, but I hope I don't have to. Uh-oh. Something's happening. 3 mana in the pool. What could it be, Phil? Oh no. Force of Will. Exiling. Days Undoing. I think True Name and Snapcaster are both better than Undoing here. Hit basic Plains. Draw for turn. Back to basics. No love. True Name Nemesis. Shoot through the gap here. Follows up with Minskin Boo. That's disappointing. But that was mostly a good turn for me. Choke and Minskin Boo would both be bummers. Most other things are fine. Even an Edict is not a huge deal. And number 4 is getting snapped off. Something's coming. There it is. Big stupid asshole face. Minskin Boo. I can control the Boo with Prismatic Ending and work Minsk down over 2 turns here. This thing has trample, but I can absorb 1 of the damage. Ooh, another one. And this answers the Boo. If I fetch Mountain, I can have all my colors. Alright. I am going to get my Mountain into the mix. I might want that eventually. Nemesis, numero 2. Attack, Minskin Boo, Timeless Heroes. End this Boo. And pass. There's still going to be a 4/4 trample in play, but hopefully my deck is capable of answering a creature before it's too late with this Snapcaster Mage in my hand. There are tricks in the format, like spells that make damage unpreventable for a turn, which could kill my True Name Nemesis. Like if there's Stomp in Phil's hand, then True Name Nemesis will die here basically for free, but those are not cards that are normally in decks, so I'm not going to play around them. Until you show me that you have a card like that, I'm not going to respect it. Those are the rules. Okay, deck, I would love to find the land for Sword right now. Oh yeah, we're in there. Okay, Sword of Swifty Nasty. Equip one of the Nemesis. Attack my opponent's life points directly and Minskin Boo. This will untap my lands, start to empty opponent's hand, and give me Snapcaster Mage. Snapcaster. Target Prismatic Ending. Get rid of the trample creature. And move the sword onto the creature that can block. Go. Plague Engineer is a conceivable card that could be in this deck. That would actually be pretty rough here. Let's try to fade that for a turn or 2. If Back to Basics wasn't on the radar before, it certainly is now that there are 5 basics in play, though I'm sure Phil was thinking about it this whole time. Pyroblast my Snappo. That's fair. Taking 3 damage here, and you will have 5 mana after combat. 1 card left in hand that should be in play. Yeah, there we go. Because you're going to lose it anyway. Alright. Time to math. I'm equipping Sword of Feast and Famine. That's a freebie. If I attack for 5 once, and then 8 the next turn, that is lethal. And I get to leave back a True Name Nemesis in the meantime. Yeah, we're just taking it easy here. And I'll move my sword onto the blocking one, just in case of something like Plague Engineer. But this non-blue deck now it gets to see 2 cards to find an answer to 2 True Name Nemesis. It looted away a Badlands. Bill knows right now if he has a chance in this game or not. And there it is. That's what I was talking about in the deck tech. If there are certain cards like True Name Nemesis that can solo a matchup, and we had an uncontested True Name in game 1, and then 2 uncontested True Names, 2 name Nemesis in game 2, and they just did the whole thing despite all the cool things my opponent was doing because it just didn't matter. On to the next round.
You come here to level up at Magic. To level up as a software engineer, check out the new YouTube series Dev Better, hosted by the founder of 7-Factor Software and Magic player, Jeremy Duvall. 7-Factor's small teams of high-performing engineers build custom mobile apps, APIs, and highly scalable systems for Fortune 500 companies and ambitious startups with great ideas. If you'd like to hire 7-Factor, or maybe join their team, contact them through their website at 7factor.io. And don't forget to subscribe to 7-Factor's YouTube for every episode of Dev Better.
I am on the play for round 2, and I'm going to keep this hand. I've got a tasty little Swords of Plowshares or Force of Will to interact. Turn 2 Stoneforge, and in we go. This is exactly the hand I was talking about of test them on turn 2, test them on turn 3. Sending the Flooded Strand out there. I don't know if I need to plow this turn or not, but just ready for anything. Except for Dark Ritual Oppo, but I could even force that. So, ready for anything. Count it. The Windswept Heath strategy. Fascinating. Ooh, back to basics. I like it. To get my basic planes, jam the Stoneforge, and I'm going to tutor for Cauldra. Batterskull is more castable, and I do expect a plow out of this Windswept Heath deck, but on the chance they don't have it, I just want the good creature in my hand, and if they do have it and they think, oh, I can beat a Batterskull, that's not a game I want to engage with. I want to force them to take this interaction if they have it. Fetching Dryad Arbor in the end step. Oh, yuck. Okay, this is some sort of depths adjacent deck. I was thinking fetching Dryad Arbor in the end step, maybe we've got elves, but no, this is depths. Grist the Hungry Boy. Okay, so Teferi is really good against Dryad Arbor and Mox Diamond, but so is Back to Basics. True Name Nemesis bricks their deck. I am going to force here. I'm just deciding what I'm going to pitch. I think I actually am going to pitch True Name. Because Teferi is a redraw. If I get Back to Basics down, Teferi can handle the diamond. Did not draw a land, so I don't have to figure this out right now. And rather than Swords to Plowshares, I am just going to do the thing I signed up to do, which is bash with Cauldra. I have Plow if they have depths. You have depths. Okay. Plow a Bonga Dude. Ponder. Another land. This lets me back to basics next turn, and I can snap Plow in the future. I'll attack with both of my creatures. It would need a Spirit Guide and a Crop Rotation to navigate this situation. They can also just gain 20 and try to figure it out later. It's a reasonable plan. Making moves. This Not of This World beats me as well. Most lists aren't that all in anymore, but I will lose if they have it. Okay. That's handled. Heath. Okay, Teferi can bounce Dryad Arbor, set them back a land drop. I can snap Plow Dryad Arbor. I could also attack and leave up all my options. I think I want to go for the Teferi. Sniff out the crop rotation if you've got it. See what's going on here. Savannah. Endurance, sure. Okay, that works. That gets rid of the Plow. And this is a big stupid idiot I can put back in their hand. I'm drawing a Snapcaster. And I'm attacking for 5, leaving back Stoneforge to defend Teferi. Now I don't have to worry about crop rotations quite as much. Field of the Dead. That's tough. And then Endurance was a nice one, getting the Plow out of the way. Vista. Plus Teferi. I'm going back to basics here. Sucks that they have a bigger creature than me and a Mox Diamond to function under, and the creature they have can spin their lands into basic lands. but this is still the most disruptive thing that I have access to. This land, good luck with that. Can do the double Stoneforge trick where I grab an equipment and then put it in right away with the other one. Batter Skull. I'm going to fetch now just so they can't do any wasteland tricks. Sacking Dryad Arbor. Windswept Heath, that can get plains or forest and start to function under B2B. Oh wow, they conceded? Interesting. I thought there was a lot more game to play here, but sure, I'll take it. I think I'm ahead, and any removal spell just breaks it open, but I think there was a lot more going on there. Green-White Depths. Sort of Feast and Famine, I like. Is Lavinia good? She counters Mox Diamond, but that's about it. They can't ramp into a Green Sun Zenith. Like, if they get a Mox Diamond down before Lavinia, they can't cast it for their full X value unless they have lands enough to pay for the mana value. I don't know if that sentence made sense, but I hope you know what I mean. Surgical Extraction has some text in this matchup. I have the Back to Basics main. I don't have another Blood Moon or anything in the board to reach for. I'm going to shave a Teferi and a Force of Will for these two other cards. Teferi does bounce a thing, but if you're not pushing advantage, it gets buried quickly. Oh, this hand is questionable. Yeah, I would keep it with a cantrip. I'm not going to keep it as it is. Mulligan. Here we go. Keep this and send... I think Brainstorm is going away here. I like all the cards in my hand. I don't want to brainstorm any of them away. They just fetching before they pass the turn. I have land number 3. That can be a basic mountain, but I have 0 red cards in my deck. I have Prismatic Ending. That's the only honorary red card. Honor Days Undoing. Snapcaster. I want these cards. Put Snapcaster at the bottom of this pile. This gives me Narset Undoing and 2 removal spells to have a stable board when I do it. Through Wayfinder. This will not find the way. And I am going to Swords to Plowshares it, even though that is off curve, because now I can untap and Prismatic Ending a choke, if that was the ploy. Copying my planes, okay. Got it. Okay, I'm soft to choke now, but I can dig for a Force of Will with Narset. This is the plan I lined up. I'm going to try it. Storm, that's not a Force of Will. All right. Anything but choke, I'm okay with here. Minskin Boo would be tough too. Okay, I lied. Oh no. I'm getting booed. Shit. Oh, it's Zenith for 3. That one I care less about. Please get Knight and not Leovold. Wrist. Alright, yeah, that doesn't matter. That takes a turn to kill Narset, and they milled over a Minskin Boo. So close. Yet so far. Love a land here. Oh, Swords to Plowshares. Okay, I can try to Ponder, hit my land drop, and then Days Undoing. I want to do that. I don't want to miss a land drop against this deck. Easy game. Always had it. I wish I actually always had it, because then First would not be able to kill Narset right now. But I have bent my opponent into hell. Still probably dead to Minskin Boo, though. I did not bring in the Hydroblast. I didn't think about that. That could be a huge punish if I don't find a force before they find that. Right now they're deciding if they want to attack Narset down to 2 and make another insect, or attack me for 1 and then sack the insect and kill Narset. I think they made the right choice. Oh, please play Sylvan Library. I'm so ready for that. Wayfinder is not what I wanted. Oh, there's more. Chalice on 1. Fascinating technology from the Depths deck. Technically legal, but I'm not happy about it. Stoneforge. Go get Batter Skull. I want to be able to cast this thing. Then fetch a Plains and play Narset. There's the Cauldra. There's Back to Basics. My god, Jace the Mind Sculptor. Are you kidding me? Alright, I think I'm in for Jace here. Chips are down. Jace is face up. Jace Batter Skull in my hand. Untapping with 6 mana. I can do whatever I want with my life. Wayfinder only triggers when it damages a player or battle. and Narset is neither of those things. I am actually just dead, though, if they draw and play Dark Depths from their hand. The Plow is off, Brainstorm's off to dig for it. I would have to answer Chalice off of Narset. We're getting the GGs in the chat, though. I guess they've had enough. Okay. Yeah, I am pretty far ahead here. They had some good draws in their deck, but they must not have found them. On to the next one. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there. I am on the play in round 3 against none other than the sponsor of this league, RobJob. I mulliganed to 7. I was busy laughing at the fact I queued into the league sponsor. It was a no-lander, but I'm going to keep this one. And I will send the Brainstorm away. Once again, I like all the cards in my hand. I don't want to brainstorm any of them away. That makes Ponder better. I don't really like this. No, it's fine. Brainstorm's another blue card. Prismatic Ending can answer generic stuff. And we'll see what RobJob is playing today. Frequently into Painter, but we'll see. I was messaging him recently saying, yeah, I'm about to record your league. So there's probably no mysteries here for on this side. An island, okay. And a bauble. Okay. 8 cast probably. Yep, 8 cast confirmed. Is this Little Queen Emery? I am going to Force of Will this card because I don't have an answer for it currently. And I would like to see it gone. Force me back. Pitching a backup Emery. Okay. That works. Also the Void, milled over, and Mox Opal. So I'm drawing Prismatic Ending, and I'm shoving Stoneforge Mystic onto this deck. If Stoneforge resolves, I grab the Cauldron and try to race. If Stoneforge does not resolve, there's another Stoneforge on top of my deck after that, and my opponent is empty. Would like to use this ability. I'm going to get Cauldron. Let's get to work. Urza's Saga is eventually an answer to Cauldron. It can get the Aether Spellbomb, and Chalice is being cast from the graveyard. None of these baubles were popped, so they are saving up artifacts for Affinity or Improvise. That seems likely to be true. They're bobbling me now, starting to cash them in. Firing them all off now. I was hoping to catch at least one of these under an R set, but doesn't look like it's going to happen. Just saw Prismatic Ending and Cauldron complete off the 2 Urza baubles, and then drawing 3 cards, pretty powerful effect. That's why I cracked off all your baubles. Unfortunately for me, I already had one of those, and I think I would have gotten some baubles locked down if I had just had Island on top of my deck instead. Okay, race is on. What I'm hoping for now is that opponent has drawn the Aether Spellbomb, which is locked out of their own Chalice, and they won't be able to tutor it next turn. Mox Opal from hand to the Synod. These constructs will be pretty hefty on arrival. They can make a 5/5 construct here. That doesn't matter versus Cauldron. I'm going to get my attack in. If they tutor Shadow Spear, they're winning the race, but if they tutor Shadow Spear, then they're not tutoring Aether Spellbomb. And I'm just going to grab the Batterskull here and have a second wave ready. But I am now officially feeling pretty far behind. 5/5 creature. It'll be a 7/7 by the time it can attack. Maybe bigger. Well, certainly bigger. Emery can at least play an Urza's Bauble from the graveyard, if nothing else. And what's the answer? I believe Spellbomb is correct if it's available as an out. Spellbomb it is. Bouncing the Germ right now. No fuss, no muss, get rid of it. That does make the constructs smaller in combat. Memory targeted Mox Opal. Is that a misclick, or do we have an affinity spell to cast? Affinity spell to cast, yep. I think this game is over. I don't have a comeback mechanic. In the main, there's no meltdown to draw into, no dress downs in this deck. And I have missed on land number 3 for this Narset for a little too long. Ponder's turned off. I could Prismatic Ending one of the constructs, but the other one's still coming. Yeah, we've lost this game. Okay. Get out of here. 2 meltdowns coming in for sure. Lavinia seems pretty great here. Turns off Thoughtcast. Counters Baubles forever. The Pyroblasts are good. Cosmetic Ending's great. Back to Basics is pretty solid here. I don't know if I need to Days Undoing this deck. I just need to not die to it. Spell Pierce is mid. It is an answer to Chalice if I have it on right on time, but it's pretty bad after that. Yeah, I'm not excited about that. Teferi is pretty medium. He does bounce Chalice. Bounces basically all things in their deck. Lets me instant speed a Meltdown, but I'm bringing in more effective cards than that. Jace is really slow here. I don't think Jace is reasonably going to win a game against 8cast in the year 2023. And Back to Basics or Force of Will are starting to look like the worst cards left. And it's probably Back to Basics between those options. Maybe Plow. One of the Plows is worse than Back to Basics. Back to Basics just is extremely high value over replacement. This is the only thing in the 75 that does this. Whereas Plow can also be simulated by Prismatic Ending and Pyroblast and Meltdown. Okay. That makes sense to me. I'm going to try it like that. And they are a deck with a pretty low basic count. I will keep this hand full of basic lands and Lakewind. Going for the Ponder. I love a Stoneforge Mystic. I do not want 3 lands. Shuffle that immediately. Ended up with a 4th land anyway. Land number 4 is fine though. That way I can cast Narset on 3 basics and still have access to red. Ancient Tomb. Urza's Bauble. Mox Opal. Chalice of the Void. Yikes. Alright, stop there. Don't also have Emery, please. Okay, we gotta stop. That was fortunate that it didn't keep going. I'm not super stoked about Meltdown here, because I'm a deck with 2 Snapcasters and 2 Meltdowns. Yeah, I'm gonna go for Meltdown here. What am I even talking about? Alright, fetch the Volcanic Island. In my brain, for some reason, I thought Mox Opal was another Bauble. I would not Meltdown if Opal was a Bauble, because they can just replace one of these, but taking out a mana source is pretty exciting, and the Chalice. Cool, get rid of them. We saw Swords to Plowshares off the Urza's Bauble on the way out. Another Chalice, okay. Urza's Saga, pretty good. There's the second Meltdown. Easy game, always had it. Rob, when you're watching this later, know the truth. Narset, start digging. I'm gonna grab this Back to Basics, please. That is a potent weapon here. I will need to find access to my basic mountain if I'm going to cast this Back to Basics. Or no, I can just cast it off 3 basics and leave the bulk untapped and melt down the following turn. Missing a land drop. I'm going to try to solo this game with 1 construct token. Not on my watch. I am going to use Narset. Keep the cards coming. Good chance she dies anyway. Prismatic Ending versus Red Blast. It's not Batterskull. I think it's Prismatic Ending. And I'm going to fetch Basic Island and cast Back to Basics here. Put you to the test. Didn't force Meltdown, didn't force Narset. I don't think you're going to force now. And do you want to exchange all your mana for the rest of the game for 1 Construct token now? And the Construct token does turn on Mox Opal if you tutor 1 up, and then you have a stable source of mana. And you get to clear Narset, so I think this is right. But locking down 2 lands out of an opponent who just missed a land drop feels good. There's the Opal. Another Ancient Tomb. This was just drawn off the top. If they had it last turn, they would have played it last turn, and they didn't Force of Will anything yet, so I have high confidence that they don't have a counterspell right now. unless they've just had insane patience allowing Meltdown, Narset, and Back to Basics to all resolve. Pretty sure I'm in the clear here. Please cast another artifact before you pass the turn. Sigh. Uh-oh. That one's actually pretty good. No, it's not. It dies to Meltdown the same as everything else. And by it dies to Meltdown, I mean all the things it would bring. And we drew Basic Mountain. So easy. I mean, I had it the whole time. Don't feel too bad. The other Meltdown. If you've been sandbagging a force this long, you got me. Cool. That's handled. Swords to Plowshares this idiot before he makes any friends. I would also concede this game. Good decision. I don't know that I'm changing anything here. Swords to Plowshares, if I get that back in over something, maybe your name. That's one more answer to Emery on the draw. I already have 6 answers to Emery. I have more answers to Emery than they have Emery's. And if you count Force of Will, I have 10. All right, I'm not going to pour that in out of respect for Emery. I'm going to be disrespectful, which is how you win these matchups. This hand is pretty soft to Chalice of the Void. I do like the access to basics. I like Island Ponder. Don't like the lack of Meltdown or Prismatic Ending. And opponent kept 7. I'm still going to keep it. I'll be really disappointed if Chalice of the Void happens on turn 1. Oh god. Please don't name Prismatic Vista. Holy crap. Stoneforge Mystic. A reasonable decision. At least it wasn't Prismatic Vista. Vista is getting Island, and I have cleared the first bar, which is casting this Ponder. Island Ponder. This is a lot of good cards. The Stoneforge Mystic is still a 2-for-1, and if I have Prismatic Ending to clear the Needle out from under it, I actually am pretty into this. I'm going to put Prismatic Ending in my hand because that's just a good card for the matchup. It gets me out from under Chalice, which was the thing I was most worried about. I can sequence this Stoneforge where they don't worry about it because of Needle, and then surprise, Needle's gone. Here's Cauldra. Uh-oh, there's Emery. I don't like her. 0 artifacts milled. I do like that. Don't play a bauble. Don't play a bauble. Oh, hell yeah. Just the old 2-mana 1/2. I do believe shuffling away this True Name Nemesis is worth it in order to keep advancing my plan. I'm gonna grab the Cauldra, because I can answer Needle if I care. I would just get Batterskull if I didn't have Ending, or if there was a scarier permanent to end. Oh wow, they just passed the turn, no land, no creature, no bauble. This opponent has a handful of counterspells. I promise. I'm gonna Red Blast this Emery and see if that shakes anything loose. Back for 1. And then I am gonna Ending the Needle. Let's invest in success for next turn. This denies affinity for things that care about affinity. Okay, there's that Force of Will we knew about. Pitching a Thoughtcast. Glad to see that go. Ooh, Seat of the Synod. That probably unlocked some good cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Still can't Thought Monitor. You can Thoughtcast. Bauble. Glad I cleared the Emery. Lots of baubles. Those would have been in play if they had them many earlier. So I think they drew Seat of the Synod for turn, which unlocked this Thoughtcast. The Thoughtcast drew the 2 baubles. So these 2 cards in hand were in hand last turn as well. If they're not careful with the baubles, they might be able to catch something with Narset. But, alright, they used 1 now. This one's safe. I could lock up or delay. Oh, they saw another Narset. I'm over here, like, planning my master scheme to hide a Narset from them, and they're just like, nah. I know. I'm gonna leave up red instead of white. If I find a Pyroblast here, I'm pretty happy with that. Or a Meltdown. Hello, Meltdown. Just pop that in my hand. Let you know. It's face up. I could Meltdown clear the Seat of the Synod now, but with Narset in play, I don't care that much about their affinity cards. And I can Meltdown the Needle and then shove in the Cauldron next turn with Narset still around. Feeling pretty good here. Oh, here comes a Kappa. This is a good one. Me without a red blast. Okay. So you want to race, do you? I am well suited to this race right now. If you have Force Blue card in hand, that's bad for me. Just shuffled a Force of Will into my deck. I could fetch before I Narset. I could snap a red blast, which would slow down Cauldron for a turn. Okay, I at least have that backup plan. Narset first. Found Pyroblast. Alright, easy game. I'll take this Pyroblast. And then I can kill Kappa next turn. So I'm just going to Meltdown for 1, which will take the Bauble with it, because it's tapped for reasons. You've seen the Pyroblast. Forcing here is going to feel awful. And I still have enough mana to Cauldron. Ouch. Force Pitching Thoughtcast. Counter target spell if it's blue. I will do that. The surprise of nobody. Yeah, I probably would have just taken my medicine on the Meltdown and attacked Narset this turn. And I guess maybe you can't Thoughtcast if all your artifacts are gone. I think we're about to just race it out, though, and I'm way ahead. And one of your 2 lands in play is Ancient Tomb. It's not a good spot. Where's the Saga's pretty solid. If your hand is Shadow Spear, we might actually have a game. But I think that's the only card I could care about. Alright, going in for 5, ignoring Narset. There's an Otawara in play. Either Spell Bomb I would care about, too late for that. So if you have the other Otawara, you can bounce Germ. Okay. I will attack with my creatures and see if you're dead. Or if you have Otawara. I think those are the only 2 modes. I can counter a Brazen Borrower. Something's happening. Oh, it is Otawara. That's fun. Alright, the game continues. You go to 2. Ancient Tomb is off. And snap Red Blast Ward. Ward is 4. I don't have enough for that. I can just blast the Kappa, though. I could also just wait and see what happens, because Kappa's not lethal. Okay. I Hero Blast the Kappa. Pay the 4. We've reached this stage of the game. That's out of here. We have also reached the stage of the game where Urza Saga can answer my stuff. Oh, maybe not. Don't have enough to equip Cauldron. If I attack and they make a construct, they're done doing anything for the game. I'm in for that. And construct will be a 2/2 with 1 damage on it. Oh, Back to Basics doesn't kill. Oh, I could Meltdown or Back to Basics here. They're both really good. I have so many options. I'm not worried about losing this game, is what I'm saying. That's dead. We knew that was going to happen. And Back to Basics now. This lets the construct clear Narset, but I don't care because you have no mana. You tutor up a Mox Opal as a last-ditch effort to do anything this game, and then I snap Meltdown. Oh, Haywire Might. That's cool if you get access to green mana somehow. Oh, sick. From the top rope. That was a dope sequence. Okay, I'm going to have to come up with another plan now. Fetch. Island. Land. Snapcaster. Target. Meltdown. Meltdown for 1. This Petal Haywire Might line does give them life, but they still get to tap Ancient Tomb 1 more time this game, and then they're just on Otawara for mana, and I can equip Snapcaster with Cauldron next turn. Here comes the Might. We knew about this. Go up to 4 life. Get rid of my Back to Basics. Lose half of your permanents. And, oh, Back to Basics is gone, which means I can play Narset. Forgot about that little fold. That's nice. What a nice little consolation prize. Fresh Narset, fresh card in hand. You're dead on board. Figure it out. I'm going to take Brainstorm over Prismatic Ending. Mishra's Bauble. Okay. Think you're dead? Both Ottawaras have been used. You can't dismember with what you have. Brazen Borrower could stabilize for a turn. Alright, and we got the GG. Nice. 3-0. against the person who asked me to play the deck, no less, just carving it up. On to the next round.
The Command Tower software by Eminence Gaming is perfect for hosting TCG events. It features easy-to-create event registration for 1v1 and 4-player Swiss structured tournaments. Event management has never been so simple, and it's web-based, so there's no download required. Get access for just $5 at eminence.events/subscribe.
I am on the play for round number 4. Volcanic Island Ponder Keep. Good enough. Not as good as Island Ponder, but we'll take it. Certainly more expensive. Oh, okay. How dead to Wasteland do I want to be? This Ponder is great if they're not a Wasteland deck, and I am in the garbage forever if they are a Wasteland deck. Okay, let's do it. I'm keeping. Party time. Blood St. Meyer. Cool. We'll take it. Grindstone. This is what we're doing. I understand. There's a mountain on top of my deck. I am sure I don't want that card. Back to basics, Brainstorm. Brainstorm is D's. Back to basics is Force Fodder. Okay, I'll continue holding on for dear life to these Ponders, even though they are kind of medium. But I have Plow and Force Blue card, all of which are good against Painter. Soul Guide Lantern, you got me. My soul! I was goofing, but exiling a Ponder is kind of like taking my soul from me. Brainstorm. They did not immediately snap off a Red Blast on that. I can ship this B-Skull and the second True Name, or I could ship Back to Basics. I'd rather pitch Back to Basics to Force than True Name, but I'd rather use neither and just have a hand with good cards in it. And True Name, or Back to Basics takes me off blue mana for the game. Yeah, I'm off that. And Stoneforge Mystic is going to be my shuffle for the Brainstorm here. I have just tapped out of Swords to Plowshares for a turn, but they would need some big explosive mana here to kill me. I guess they just need Ancient Tomb, Lotus Petal. So it's not that unheard of. They're drawing a card. I love that. And we see white mana in the mix. I don't know off the top of my head what the white Painter deck is. They play Tutors? Like, what are we doing here? This can get plowed. Snaring Bridge in the graveyard, okay. White Source off the top? Yeah, easy. Going for Cauldra. In you go. And fetch a basic Plains. Again, this hurts my blue source, but this is how the deck is constructed, and I would like to not deal with an Ensnaring Bridge. Lighten Tutor. Fun. Now I get to counter 2 spells. Because they put the Enlightened Tutor in the graveyard in order to draw a Painter next turn. And I would have forced Painter all the same. Force pitching Nemesis. I gotta assume at least one Red Blast here. Yep. Force pitching Nemesis. Oh, they have 2 Red Blasts. Am I dead? Okay. Alright. Removal spell off the top, and we can still do this. Okay, Painter Serpent, Snapcaster Mage, Swords to Plowshares, Prismatic Ending. I can't trip into any of the above. Narset that I cannot cast. Alright, I've been defeated. GG opponent. The double Red Blast got me good. Just make sure there's no tricks here, nothing that shuffles back in. There is not. And they're under so much pressure that there's no world where they don't activate Grindstone. They certainly found the line. Hydroblast coming in. Meltdown coming in. Do I want Surgicals? What am I cutting? Back to Basics. And Back to Basics is not textless. They are an Ancient Tomb deck. We saw Plateau. But they're also a deck with 7 Red Blasts. So what am I doing here? Jace the Mind Sculptor seems questionable against a deck with 7 Red Blasts as well. So it's bonkers if it sticks. I like Teferi less than I like Jace, though I might split the difference on them. And the Festivities kills Goblin Welder, but not Goblin Engineer or Painter. And now we were talking about Surgicals. Yeah, I can't play Jace against a deck with this many Pyroblasts in it. I'll go 1 Surgical, leave 1 Teferi in. Meltdown and a bunch of forces. I'll keep this, though Force betrayed me last game. Just land go for my opponent. Cool. Now I can brainstorm and ponder. Start with basic island and a brainstorm. See if they want to fight over this. They do not. Keep the volcanic island around. Get rid of basic islands. Then I can fetch Tundra. And if they try to Blood Moon the deck with 9 basics, then well done. You did it, I guess. I'll keep Ponder on top with a basic island under it and Days Undoing under that. I don't want the Undoing, but I do like Ponders and basics. Ponder. We're going to look at Days Undoing and 2 new cards. Hey, that's the card that goes with Days Undoing. I'm going to put the Undoing in my hand because I'm happier to pitch that to Force than I am the Narset if I have to do something this turn. This is the Narset turn, and then there is Cauldra underneath this. Cauldra kind of sucks. Easy Red Blast. I haven't given them a real target yet. I don't really want to Force here, but I won't. So I won't. I could just cast Days Undoing, like force a play, and then YOLO Days Undoing. Welder, I can answer that. Prismatic Ending, this Goblin. And with the board clear, I'm not just going to Days Undoing both of us back to 7s. I'll hold out hope for a better tomorrow. Goblin Crater Maker, okay. That kills Stoneforge Mystic and Batterskull. Also is just a creature with power and toughness, which has high impact on this board. Distressingly high impact. But I hit land number 5, I can force twice this turn, but I will need to answer this Crater Maker in the next 9 turns. Alright, I can play Cauldra on my next land drop. We've gotten there. Crater Maker does not beat Cauldra. And they're just continuing to play control. Brainstorm. How aggressive are we getting with the blue blasts or red blasts? The answer is not very, it seems. Okay. Land number 7 and Cauldra. These are the cards I would like to put back off Brainstorm. But also land number 7 cast Cauldra. Yeah, I'm just going to put those back and play a normal game. Just replaced my, I guess we're here because we have to be plan with a plan that I'm actually interested in, which is a ton of interaction. I think I'll take 2 more from this and then act in the end step. Painter Servant resolves. Painted everything black. End step, allow this. Cool. And fetch basic planes. I have a lot of blue, yeah, I'll get the planes. Oh, and me without my Cauldra. I am in some danger of just dying to this thing, and I can kill it, but my opponent's approaching the point where they're going to have more cards in their hand than they're allowed to have. Find the Great Creator, what the shit? That's a surprise. I force of will that the hard way. I will Hydroblast up, Pyroblast. I'm probably going to lose this fight. Oh wow, they were out of Pyroblast. That's interesting. So I'm trying to draw Narset now and get a Days Undoing done. Or redraw the Cauldra. And now I'm winning the race. Let's go. After that Karn didn't resolve, I have renewed faith in this force of will. That it could actually get through and do something. Opponent's dead in 2 hits here. I'm dead in 4 hits. Oh, well. I'm now dead in 3 hits. Or 1 more bolt. Yikes. Suddenly in danger. This Crater Maker really did go coast to coast. I have to force of will a lightning bolt. God, that sucks. 4 cards left in their hand over there. Karn the Great Creator. Okay, I mean, if I force this, I guess I have to force this. If they're holding a bolt, they win. Come on, answer to Crater Maker. Brainstorm, save me. Fetching in response. Are we Pyroblasting this? Are we bolting me right now? I don't think it's Pyroblast. I think it's just bolt. Oh, weird. Wow. What is going on right now? Well, I have to pass without attacking because I'm dead. Why didn't Karn resolve if they had Pyroblast? They must be holding a bolt and just really milking it. Engineer resolves. Oh, if they get Dragon Engine, they can just bash through me here and deal 2 no matter what I block. Oh, that would be a sad end to this adventure. Yep, they did in fact get Dragon Engine, and they are going for it, and I do not have the answer. Disappointing. A Rip Apart was the card in their hand. Yeah, they played this whole game without putting a single artifact in play. Maybe I misevaluated the matchup. This Meltdown I was counting on. And yeah, we are dead for Xaxes here. Well played, opponent. Super interesting game here. This Crater Maker just got in for so much. I could have answered it at one point, but then the Karn and Painter would have stuck. And it's just sort of like this thing was getting its points in, and that Lightning Bolt really messed me up. I thought I had it mapped out, but Bolt to the face was exactly the thing. Okay, GG, opponent. On to the next round. The trophy is dead. For the absolute best Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, check out the link in the video description to coalesceapparel.shop, and be sure to use the code BoshNRoll for 10% off when you check out. I'm on the plate for the final round. Positive records locked. Got the bread and butter 4-1. I will keep this Volcanic Island Ponder hand. This deck is certainly bringing me back to that 2018-2019 era where I was trying to put as few non-basic lands in my deck as possible. Once Prismatic Vista was printed, I actually played 0 non-basic lands other than fetches. Every mana source was basic, and I realized that was a bridge too far, and I was on 1 Tundra. Oh, I actually do kind of like these islands. I was on 1 Tundra, and then Islands and Plains outside of that for a while. And this deck is basically doing that. It's as close to that as you can do with a 3-color deck. Oh no. Punished for not holding up Spell Pierce. But I can hold it up next turn. And I know my next 3 draws are all lands. I can afford to give up one of those. Okay, let's hope that Spell Pierce is a relevant spell in whatever's about to happen to me. Main deck Ancient Tomb Sphere of Resistance is not a normal thing in the Legacy format. Wonder if this is my aggro shops list. Sick poetry that would be. I'm not going to counter Mox Diamond. But we're a depth strategy with Wasteland. Yuck. This card cannot possibly be allowed to resolve. Island, Spell Pierce. Okay, so are we just lands? Like, what is this thing? Oh, sick. Prismatic Ending. Now I have an interesting choice. I can clip the Sphere of Resistance or the Mox Diamond. I think it's the Sphere. And you can do a cool trick where I'm announcing it for X equals 0, and then Sphere of Resistance makes it cost 1 more, and then I pay 2 colors for it. So I can basically answer this thing on curve without actually getting taxed. There's the Wasteland. What else we got? 3 cards left in this hand. That could be scary. Life from the Loam, targeting Depths and Wasteland. That's not too bad. They've wasted one of my 2 possible targets. It's just how quick we can make Meryl Age from here. But I do get to Narset in the interim. Set it up. Find me a plow. Found me a plow. I will get that box checked first before I get cute with Teferis and stuff. They're not dredging. Second Mox Diamond, that makes sense with Life from the Loam going. Started Ancient Tomb, there's the Wasteland. So we have to respect crop rotation here. There's 1 card in hand and they didn't dredge Loam. Fascinating. Start by activating Narset. I'll just grab a second Narset and keep this going. A new Narset. Get another card. Force of Will, don't mind if I do. Force of Will and Swords to Plowshares versus Dark Depths and 1 mystery card in hand. That they didn't cast and didn't dredge their Loam. Okay, now they dredge Loam. This makes more sense. Yavimaya Karakas Taiga. None of those change what's happening here. Yep, you can have those. Those don't make Merit Age, and they're not Ghost Quarter. Ghost Quarter is the card I'm worried about from here. I would love to find access to another land so I can play Jace the Mind Sculptor and start actually winning. Narset, activate. Another Plow. One for good measure. Brainstorm. There's another land. There's another Narset. Do I need these Prismatic Endings? I'll put one of them away, and do I just put both of them away? might be a reasonable thing to do. And then I can fire another Narset in here. Narset number 3. Dig through time, number 3. Back to basics. Hello. Sad that that one's face up. But opponent, you're on notice. I wish I had those 2 prismatic endings to pick off the diamonds now. Feel like a fool. Sphere of Resistance. That's one of 2 possible unknown cards. This bricks my Jace the Mind Sculptor. I could force this. I think I want to. That card's just pretty annoying. And I know they don't have a whole lot going on over there. True Name Nemesis. Narset activate. Put another Force of Will in my grip. Make sure I can't die out of nowhere. And then Jace the Mind Sculptor. And I'm just going to start going upstairs with Jace. Plus target you. They can just dredge, so this isn't like great. But my hand is full of cards that I like already. It's not the full lock, but they do have to start dredging and stuff. Oh, they found an Urza Saga. I don't like that. Loam. Yep, that's going to have to resolve. There's Saga. Oh, sick. Well, Teferi buys me a bunch of time in this endeavor. Teferi, bounce Urza Saga. That gets me a land drop and gets me a plus target U. Hitting Needle. I would like to put this card on the bottom, actually. Weirdly relevant. And with Teferi in play and Force of Will backup, I'm free to cast a spell here. Trying to think of what they could do to punish that. And I'm just going to slam this back to basics while the getting's good. Okay, your turn. Saga's back. Another Narset. Plus Teferi. Is another Narset better than a True Name Nemesis on the board? True Name can blank a token, a construct token that is. Yeah, I'll go with Narset here. Keep the cards flowing, give Jace time to cook. Prismatic Ending, what's up? Jace plus target you. Crucible of Worlds. Do I want to put this card on the bottom? Do I care about it? And it's a thing, so sure. It's on the bottom now. And I'm going to Prismatic Ending one of these Moxen. And still holding up Forest Blue card. They still can't instant speed Merit Lage. If you're going to make construct tokens, I want it to friggin' hurt. I have seen this deck before, now that I've seen more cards out of it. I was really confused by the turn 1 Sphere of Resistance. But this is a deck that I've seen. It's just like a mono-green prison version of lands. I think I'm done fighting over Spheres of Resistance that cost you 2 lands forever to put into play. Narset activate. Grab this Ponder. They can tutor up Pithing Needle and name Jace here, which I don't love. Ponder. Batter Skull, True Name. I don't think these are cards I care about. I mean, they are pretty good against the construct tokens. And they give me an alternate win condition. If I play the island from my hand, 1, 2, 3, 4, I can still Force of Will. I can't plow, though. Do I think I need to plow? If they get Shadow Spear, they just lose, I think. Okay. I will actually keep these cards in the order that they appear in. Play this island. Jace target you. I am once again going to bottom this card. They've been impressive at leaving up cards I somehow care about. They're running out of them. Okay. I can still Force of Will. Teferi still has an activation. There are 2 lands under lockdown now. If they make a Saga token, it's going to lock down the Saga and at least 1 other land. They can tutor up Pithing Needle here and turn off Jace. They could Shadow Spear and try to actually kill one of these Planeswalkers. They could get a Mox Diamond and try to get more mana under my back to basics. We'll see what happens here. Once again, this feels like 2019 Legacy, where lands was predominantly a prison deck, and Jace the Mind Sculptor was one of your best tools against them. You just resolve it and plus to the house until they're dead, because they don't really have creatures to pressure it. Shadow Spear is the choice. They're making a run at my Planeswalkers, casting a Mox Diamond. Okay. Don't think I'm supposed to force that, though it is tempting. Shadow Spear, permanents your opponent's control lose hexproof and indestructible. Those words do not affect protection. They can trample over and kill. They probably have to go for Teferi here, because Teferi clears the construct. And they're just stuck under this stuff. Jace also clears the construct, so might as well kill the thing you can kill. This Back to Basics is an absolute unit. As long as they didn't come up with a Boseiju somewhere, I feel like this game is pretty well under control. Crop Rotation. The card they've been sitting on this whole game that I've been respecting this whole game, they did in fact have. Get rid of it, please. And they are taking out Teferi. Blocking does stop them from gaining 1 life because it prevents 1 of the damage. Teferi still dies because it has trample, but instead of being at 16, they're at 15, which is a multiple of 3, which is the power I'm attacking with, conveniently. Now, I think I just use Swords to Plowshares to win this game and keep going upstairs with Jace. Seiju, put it on the bottom, Jesus. Okay. 5, 6. I could cast Batterskull. That's not what I want to do with my life. My plan is to win this game with Jace the Mind Sculptor Ultimate. Opponent has 3 mana available, locked under their own Sphere of Resistance. I'm about to ultimate them with Jace. They've seen these Swords to Plowshares face up. Yeah, okay, cool. That felt good. That felt very familiar from 4 years ago. Force of Negation, Surgical Extraction, Meltdown. We saw Crucible of Worlds and a bunch of Sagas and a bunch of Spheres. Hydroblast. They have access to various colors of mana. I don't know if I should expect Inskin Boo out of the sideboard plan here. Lavinia. Oh, Lavinia is super awkward because if my opponent has a Sphere of Resistance in play, then their Mox Diamonds don't cost 0, and they won't be countered by Lavinia. So I'm not going to do Lavinia stuff. Back to Basics, absolute banger. Brew name is medium. And they can't really kill it, but it's not great either. Swords to Plowshares. I want enough that I can find them if I need them for Merit Lage, but you don't need 4 for the matchup. Prismatic Ending, absolutely essential. We've seen Sylvan Library and the Spheres and Crucible, tons of great targets for that. Spell Pierce actually seems really good somehow. I'm going to shave another Plow. I like to live dangerously. And Teferi is kind of cool, but a lot of their instants I don't care that much about. And the bounce is mediocre. In we go. This is the plan. Knowing the matchup, I don't love this Volcanic Island hand, but I do have Brainstorm to scramble it around. I will keep it. Uh-oh, this would be a very bad game for them to sphere me on turn 1. Okay. They've done it. This might not be a game, depending on what their follow-up is. Force of Will, okay. That's a good find. If they think the coast is clear from that resolving. Thespian Stage, uh-oh. Basic Plains, what's up? MVP, bow, 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 bow. Okay, are you just shoving Dark Depths into play right now? Please don't. Wasteland, okay, don't care. I am going to end step a Brainstorm here. They don't have green mana to crop rotate, and the way that my mana is squeezed, I would very much like to not put this Volcanic Island into play. And it looks like I'm not going to have to. Cauldra can get out of here, and I will redraw the Volk. Much better redraw than Cauldra. And pass the turn. Land drops lined up for a minute. Still don't have Merit Lage covered. But I can deploy a Planeswalker and start accruing some sort of value. Next turn. Mox Diamond. This gives them access to green that I am worried about. But because of their Sphere, it taps them lower on mana to do it. And depending on what they discard here, I might get a tasty Surgical. Ghost Quarter. F that. Yeah, I will be removing that card from the graveyard as soon as it becomes relevant. Like right now. No, I'm actually more worried about Loam than I am about GQ. I have a bunch of replacements. Yeah, I'll take the loam. And then I get information about what else is going on here. Post quarter. Surgically extract using my planes as mana and my life total as mana. Boseiju, Pyroblast, Shadow Spear. And this deck contains 2 chokes. Not cool. 2 libraries, also not cool. Dark Depths is, there are 2 copies of that. 1 Crucible, 1 Needle. Seems like Urza Saga is primarily the win condition here. I do have Snapcaster Mage with Surgical Extraction available. If a Saga makes it to the graveyard and I'm not dead yet, I could make this game unwinnable for them. Is there a Field of the Dead? EF, there's not a Field of the Dead. Dark Depths, Urza Saga, and that's it. Okay. All right. There's that. And I'm going to fetch for an island. I only play 2 planes, so I have to be careful how I hang them out. Oh, yikes. That's a sweet one. I could shove to Fairy, bounce the Mox Diamond or the Sphere of Resistance, and just get a blue spell down before this Pyroblast is castable. Or I could play Stoneforge Mystic. I think I want to get the Fairy in while I can cast this card. And I think I want to bounce Mox Diamond rather than Sphere. Cool. All right. That takes them off colored mana unless they want to either play Boseiju or discard Boseiju, both of which are things that I'm largely okay with. Or they could draw a fetch land immediately. That's cool too. Wasteland, you got me. Investing their Shadow Spear. I have something like that too. 1, 2, 3. Stoneforge gets Cauldra. Cauldra is complete. I have one of the 2 plows that's in my deck. I can't force here because of the Sphere, but they don't have a whole lot of cards left that I care about forcing. Crucible would be devastating here. They Ghost Quarter my planes. Crucible, Ghost Quarter my planes. I am in trouble. Exploration, that, I mean, I can't interact with it, but it's also fine because they don't have any lands to play. Okay, another island. This is actually looking pretty reasonable, team. Now I can just get Cauldra to work. You're on a 3-turn clock. And now I'm holding up the forces. And they can't do any crop rotation shenanigans because I have Teferi, Baracus. The artifact is a legend, the creature is not. Pyroblast taking out Teferi is fine. The Seiju and Mox Diamond are the cards in their hand right now. Those are not good cards. I am going to end step Brainstorm. Just have to play a little weird because of the Sphere. Now I can remove Sphere if I care. Snapcaster Ponder back. I'm going to put Ponder back under Snapcaster so I draw the Snap. Vista back for 6. And do I care about any of these permanents? Yeah, I mean, Sphere of Resistance is pretty annoying. Set me free. I am not sure how we... Or Mazavith is the answer. That's how we would lose this game from here. But even then, I can push for 3 damage this turn. And yeah, they're just backing it up. Cool. Lands, usually a tough matchup for blue-white control, but this old-school style 9 basic land plus main deck back to basics version has a lot of game against that. Jace the Mind Sculptor has a lot of game against that. Does not care about their Mazaviths, and they don't play Punishing Fire anymore to control the Jace. I like that. This build felt really good. 4-1 record, taking on a variety of decks successfully, losing to kind of a weird build of Painter, like a bigger version with Karn that I spent all of game 2 dying to a Goblin Crater Maker with Meltdown in my hand, and they never gave me an artifact to Meltdown. That was just a really... I don't know if that was a pivot or just a weird circumstance of that particular game, or if that is what their bigger white splashing build of the deck is meant to do. I don't know what that was, but it was pretty cool, and it did not feel like I was a huge dog in that matchup. It didn't feel, I mean, it felt like a fine matchup that could go either way, which it did, but I had tools to fight it. And I was frustratingly impressed with this deck. I say frustratingly because Star City Con Baltimore is coming up. I am a featured guest at that tournament, and it's a Legacy 10K on Saturday and a Legacy 5K on Sunday. And I'm trying to pick a deck, and I keep playing these different Jeskai piles, and every single one has something to like about it. And that includes this one. 4-1 perfectly respectable. Jace the Mind Sculptor, back on top, it seems. True-Name Nemesis, a banger. Stoneforge, a banger. Between Fairy Mastermind, Stoneforge Mystic, and Staff of the Storyteller, it's really tough to choose what 2-drop you want to build your Jeskai shell around. And that will probably be one of the problems I'm trying to solve over the next couple weeks as we come down to SCGCon. RobJob, thank you for sharing this list, though. I'm glad I got a chance to play it. Much was learned. Everybody else, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon, check out the sponsors that support the channel, and I will see you next time.